Hello, and welcome to 5 Minute Math. Today we are looking at parent functions. This is A.7C Readiness Practice, the advanced version. If you are interested in exploring the A.7C Readiness Practice for the intermediate or proficient versions, or the Algebra 1 Readiness Practice for any other standard, you can find those by using the link in the video description. So we've got two graphs here. The solid graph, right? This is going to be our transformed function, k of x, and then the dashed is going to be our parent function. Sometimes we'll call it parent-child functions. It's going to be f of x equals x squared. So we need to list all the transformations, the shifts, and then to see if there's any vertical dilations. That means, are we stretching it or are we compressing it? The vertex is going to be our easiest point of reference. And just let's look at what's happening with this vertex. It looks like it's being moved over 2 horizontally, and then up 1, 2. It looks like they're skip counting by 2, so that's going to end up being a +5 up there. Okay, so here's our basic form that we need to think of, right? We need to think f of x equals a and x minus h squared plus k. Now, so a is going to be a term that's on the outside, and that's going to be a vertical stretch or vertical compression. So it looks like some of that is happening here. So we'll just call that vertical dilation. And this is going to be your horizontal shift. And then the K is going to be your vertical shift. All right, so let's look at the horizontal and vertical first. The dilation is going to be second. So it looks like we're going to move it over 2. So you notice it's x minus h. Okay, so it's x minus and then whatever the h value is. So it's going to look like it's going to be x minus 2, but that 2 means it's moving to the right because within the parentheses it's already x minus. Okay, so we have a horizontal shift. All right, say horizontal shift equals 2. We've got a vertical shift. That would be the k, and that's just a plus k on the outside. That's a 5. So let's look for our dilation, our vertical compression or a vertical stretch. And so we can look to see, it's going to be easiest to look at what happens when we move 1 unit, right? So we've got that right there. That looks like that's a 1, 1, okay? So when we move over 1 unit in the original, the f of x, we go up 1, okay? So we go over 1, and then we go up 1, right? From 0, 0 to 1, 1. It's pretty simple. 2, 1, 1. Let's look at our transformer function. We're not starting at the origin, but we're just looking at the change, okay? So it's going to be 2, 5. It's going to 3, 7. Okay, 3, 7. So it looks like we're going over 1, but now we're going up 2, right? We went from 5 to 7. Instead of going over 1, up 1, we go over 1, up 2. So that means it's going to be a vertical stretch, and we're multiplying by 2 because we're doubling it. So this A term is going to be 2. And so the vertex, right, that's pretty easy. We can get that just from the graph. 3, 5. No, excuse me. Let's make that 2, 5. Now we need to write the equation. Okay, so k of x equals, we have a vertical stretch of 2, then f of x minus, what did we say our horizontal shift was? It was 2, plus what's our vertical shift? 5. So there's our final equation for k of x in terms of f of x. All right, so now we actually have our transformation inside the parentheses, right? That a term is kind of moved on the inside. That changes things. In the TEEX, they call it the B term. But sometimes we'll call it the A term on either side, depending on whether it's inside or outside the parentheses. Okay, so what happens to a parabola if we do that? Well, let's think. If we are plugging in 1, right here, right? So f of x equals x squared, all right? So let's just say x equals 1, all right? So f of 1 equals 1 squared, that equals 1. All right, so 1, 1, that's pretty easy. Let's look at k of x. All right, so k of x equals f of 3x. Okay, so let's say k of 1. Let's see what happens there. Equals f of 3 times 1, right? And we end up having to square it, so that's going to end up being f of 3. And if I put 3 into the back to this f of x, it ends up being 3 squared, which ends up being 9. All right, so if I stick in a 1, I'm going to get a 9. So you can tell that if we were to graph this, right, if we were to do our this would be our f of x, and let's say that's 1, 1. Here would be it's going to be a lot skinnier here. This would be our k of x. Because I stuck in a 1 to my f of x and got a 1, 1. So I can say like 1, 9 would be my value there, and 1, 1 would be my value there. All right. So what's happening? When we are looking at that b term, okay, so that b term right there, it's actually, in order to get the exact same value, the only way for me, if I wanted to get a k of x um, back to 1, what would I have to input? If I were to get k of 1/3, I'd have to plug in 1/3 to get my f of 3x back to 1, because then that would be f of 3 times 1/3, which would be f of 1, which would finally get me back to 1. So when that term, that b term, is inside the parentheses, you actually have to think reciprocals, okay? So you are actually multiplying by 1/3, because you have to, even though it says 3x, in order to get that same k of x value out that you had for f of x, it's being multiplied 3 times before you even square it. So you have to take the opposite to get that same value back out. So this is what we would call a horizontal compression. Now it's horizontal, right? The B term is looking at horizontally, whereas the A term on the outside was looking at vertical. So we're compressing it because we're multiplying it by a third. We're bringing it in closer and closer and closer to that y-axis. So it's a horizontal compression. And if the point 2, 4 is on the graph of f of x, what would k of x have the same y value? Well, what would we have to multiply to get that if f of 2 equals 4, right? I want to get that same value. K of what would equal 4? How do I get that same value of 4? Well, if I just put a 2 in there, what's going to end up happening is that it's going to be k of 2 equals f of 3 times 2, right? So that's going to be f of 6, which means you have to take 6 squared, which means 6 squared, which means you got 36. I don't want 36, I want 4. Well, remember, it's being multiplied by 3 before anything happens. So what you end up having to do is you end up having to invert it, right? So you have to end up taking that 1/3. But since we're sticking a 2 in there, what we need is we need that 2/3. If you take that 2/3, right, you're going to end up getting this. Watch, we're going to say take k of 2/3 equals f of, remember we have to multiply by 3 times 2/3. Well, you see the 3's cancel out, so now we've got f of 2, which equals your 4. because you have to square it at the end. So the same value, since we're multiplying it by 3, you end up having to divide by 3, so it's inverse. So that point is going to be 2/3, that x value is going to be 2/3. So those horizontal compressions, the B term, are counterintuitive. If you multiply by 3, you're ending up dividing by 3. All right, so we've got two functions, p of x and q of x, and we simply need to discuss the difference between the d and c. Okay, so what happens here? On what? The coordinates and the equation of the axis of symmetry. Okay, the vertex. Well, let's do this first one first. Okay, so the d value, what does it do? Shifts the vertex horizontally. And then what happens to the C value? C value. Oh, I was looking at the D value. Let's shift that. Let's make sure we get that right. That D value is vertically. It's the C value that shifts the vertex. And then we've got that horizontally. Now, what do we do with this next one? This next one says axis of symmetry. Well, that D value is not going to do anything. Has no effect because that's just going to shift it up and down. The axis of symmetry is always a vertical line. Well, shifting the vertex up and down is still going to be on that same exact vertical line. Has no effect. Okay, the C value. Okay, the C value is going to have effect. Okay, so we can say it moves the axis of symmetry, and actually you can tell with the axis of symmetry. We say the equation is that's going to be the x value of your vertex, right? So you can say x equals c, because wherever that c ends up, that's where your axis of symmetry is.